Antoine, tell me about Coach Chance and just what he brought to you guys secondary this last year.
Coach Chance was a great coach. He just brought passion. Every day he was super passionate, had great energy out there for us, and he was just overall a great guy.
I know you're working mainly with Coach Joe, obviously, but how much did Coach Chance have an impact on you in the season you just had this past year?
Yeah, he was always a positive coach. Any questions that I had, I know I could go up to him and ask him. Same with him if he had any questions or anything. But overall, he was a great guy.
Can you speak to the culture change brought on by P.J. Fleck at Minnesota?
Yeah, it was a huge change. Playing under two different coaching staffs. When he first came in, it was tough. It was hard because we haven't been coached like that before. So, like the first year was a lot of digging, second year was a lot of digging, and the third year kind of connected, and we got things rolling this year.
Is there a DB in the league now that you model your game after, or maybe you just see a little bit of yourself in them?
Yes, sir. Tyrann Mathieu is who I try to modify my game towards.
Who was the toughest receiver you guys saw this year?
This year, I would say KJ Hamler. Great receiver, super fast. He's a dude.
He's a dude. Meet with Green Bay at all?
Yes, sir.
And what do you know about Bills Mafia?
Bills Mafia. I just remember I was super young when my dad played up there. I was a little kid, so I don't really remember too much. I just remember a lot of snow. So.
Did you ever see any video of his games playing?
Yes, sir. All the time. What'd you say? I'm sorry. It's just incredible to see what he does at his size. He comes home every day. I see him. He's a little guy, and then next thing you know, I see him on TV. He's just out there balling amongst some great players. So that's what was really incredible about watching him play.
Antoine, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores, told us that your dad was his favorite all-time defensive back. I don't know if you knew that, what your reaction is. Have you met Brian yet?
No, I have not. But that's great to hear. That's just great to hear.
He said that he appreciated that even though he wasn't the biggest guy, that he played tough and physical and could cover and tackle. How does your skill set compare to what you saw when you watched that on film?
Yeah, very similar. We're almost about the same in size. And, my dad had a lot of heart, and that's kind of what I looked up to in him. Just seeing him go out there against, like I said, professionals, like great guys that you see on TV all the time. And that's just something I kind of modify my game after, It's not about how big you are, how tall you are. It's about how much fight you have.
What types of things does your dad tell you about playing football and playing a defensive back that he maybe passes along to you?
He really just tells me to be myself, be my own individual person. At a young age, he told me I didn't have to play football if I didn't want to, and I do it because I love playing football. So it's really just to have my own identity and just be myself.
Antoine, you had 7 picks last year, down in the box, run game, looks at the quarterback. What's the one thing you do best?
I think versatility is my best attribute. I can pretty much play anywhere, and also creating takeaways. That's my goal, to create takeaways for my team. That gives us the best opportunity to win, and I'm going to do everything in my power to do that.
Your instincts to get those turnovers, is that from film study? Is that just a natural kind of gift that you have?
That's film study and practice. You do it in a practice, you do it in games. So watching a lot of film and just doing it in a practice all the time helps me when I get on the field and play.
Do you hope that punt return the NFL?
Yeah, I hope the punt return. I enjoy punt returning, so I hope I get a chance to do that.
Did you ever sit down with him and watch his games, go over any of his video or anything?
Yeah, when I was younger, my dad would lay in his bed with his laptop, and I would be sitting right next to him watching film. In particular, I remember it was Calvin Johnson. I remember he had to play Detroit one week. And I remember I just sit next to him, watching him, and he was just breaking the film down and everything. So that was a cool experience that not most people get to do. So.
How old you were back then?
I was about 11 years old.
Antoine, do you have the same comfortability playing deep safety as you do playing closer to the line of scrimmage in the box?
Yes, sir. I can play both. In the post, down in the box, over slot receivers, over tight ends, anywhere a team needs me to play, that's what I do.
Antoine, how much of that did you do in Minnesota? Were you used one way or another, or did you play all three equally?
Yeah, I pretty much played all three equally. Wherever the team that we were playing, whatever their strengths were at, that's kind of where I was at. So I played all three.
What would it mean for you to suit up in the same uniform as your dad in Minnesota if you were to become a Viking?
That would be incredible. When my dad played, I grew up a Vikings fan, so that'd just be incredible just to play for the Minnesota after watching them all these years. So.
Young to be a Bills fan, a Buffalo fan?
Yeah, I don't remember much. I was young. I was probably 6 years old when I left, so I kind of was raised enough to watch Minnesota football, and so that's why I'm a Minnesota fan. All the home games. Well, in Minnesota. Yeah, not Buffalo. I mean, it's cold in both places, but actually one experience I had, I remember going to the locker room when he played for Buffalo. That's probably my last Buffalo experience. Being able to just walk in the locker room, I think it was after training camp, I believe. I walked in there one time. But, no, I don't think I met any other coaches.
Antoine, you had that game-winning pick against Fresno State and then the 2 big picks in the Penn State game. What is it about the big moment that really kind of gets the best out of you?
You know, I rise to my level of competition, and I know when the lights are on and we need to make a play, that's when you'll see me out there.
Is there ever a moment when your dad said you don't have to play football that you actually thought about not playing?
Oh, no, not at all. I've been playing football my entire life since I was probably about 2 years old, so there was never a moment where I didn't feel like I was going to play football.
Hey, Antoine, as you've been here at the Combine, how many people, coaches, scouts, and people with NFL teams that you've run into have brought up your dad? I mean, is that a constant thing? People, I remember your dad, this, that?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like every team I go to, there people either play with them or coach with them or just anything that they remember my dad. So.
Because not many people have a resource.
Yeah. I would say just to be myself, like I said before. Try not to be like anybody else, you know, just be unique in my own way and just go out there and play as hard as possible.
Has there ever been pressure to follow and be as good as him?
No pressure at all. You know, I'm my own identity. I'm Antoine Winfield Jr. You know, a lot of people call me Antoine Winfield. I'm like, no, that's my dad's name. But, you know, just to be my own identity, so there was no pressure at all. Oh, yeah, all the time. I remember we were racing, when was it, my sophomore year of high school. He thought he was still faster than me, and I'm like, no, Dad, you're getting old. So I remember I raced him one day and beat him, and he's never talked to me about speed ever since that moment. So, yeah, we always do a lot of trash talking.
You mentioned Tyler Matthew earlier. What is it specifically about him?
Just his versatility. You know, he's a shorter guy like myself, and he's able to play anywhere on the field, and he plays bigger than his size, and that's kind of how I feel like I play as well.
Before everybody knew Akron, Ohio, like Brown, and some of the guys from, you know, standing out from Akron. Do you have any connection with Akron? Do you know much about, you know, the community, about your dad?
Yeah, I would always go back. That's where both sides of my parents are from. So all my family on both sides are from Akron. And we used to get up there a lot when I was younger. I haven't been in a few years because I've been busy in college and everything, but that's where my family's at. So
you still have a lot of...
Yes, sir. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody's there.
Did you ever visit Garfield or go to Garfield games?
Yeah. I went to Garfield one time. He was hosting a camp up in Akron, and we went to the field. His old coaches were there and everything, and it was a whole bunch of kids around from the community, and he just hosted a little camp, so that was the last time I went to Garfield. Yeah, for sure. Both of my parents were raised from nothing. You know, my dad came out, all he did was he played football and provided for his family, and he still supports his family all the way in Akron. And so it's just a humbling experience just to go back and see where my parents have come from, because they come from nothing, really.
Is your nickname Tweez or Little Tweez?
It's Tweez. Yes, sir.
Antoine, how special is it for you to have this opportunity to follow in your dad's footsteps and play in the NFL?
It's very special. You know, this is something I've always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. I watched my dad play in the league for 14 years, and I knew at a young age this is what I wanted to do in my life. And it's just a surreal feeling just to be here right now. So I'm just excited, and I'm enjoying the process so far.
Your dad was an Ohio State legend, so a lot of Ohio State fans during your career thought, man, why didn't he come here? We wish we had him here. Did you ever kind of think about that at all? Like have a chip on your shoulder maybe, that they didn't recruit you as much?
Not too much. I knew wherever I would end up, I was going to do my thing. So it was never a chip on my shoulder or anything. I feel like I've always had that anyway. But, you know, I grew up an Ohio State fan because both my parents went to Ohio State. So, it was no hard feelings.
So how'd you end up in Minnesota? How did they let you go to Minnesota? Mom and Dad being Buckeyes.
Yeah, so we're in Houston at the time because that's where my family's at right now. Yeah, and one of my friends, Carter Coughlin, who was my roommate, that's my guy, that's my best friend. He had committed to Minnesota at the time, and when I went back up there to visit some friends, he told me to come take a visit with him. And you know, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, I'm not going to Minnesota. Like, why would I go up here? And I ended up taking a visit, and I ended up falling in love with the place, and that's why I decided to go to college.
Would you rather play a game when it was 90 degrees or 20 degrees?
Ooh, that's a great question. I like both. But if I had to go with one, I would say I like the cold. I like playing in the cold.
So you're a Texans fan, or you have a favorite NFL team?
Minnesota Vikings. I grew up a Vikings fan, so that's just where my parents want to live. They're trying to get out the cold weather, and somehow we just stumbled upon Texas somehow, and we just ended up moving down there. I moved to Texas when I was 14 years old. Yeah. I lived in Buffalo for 5 years, lived in Minnesota for 9, and then I moved to Texas where I did my high school and back up to Minnesota.
You share a team with Tyler Johnson and Richani. Who's the toughest matchup on that offense?
Oh, man, they're both elite receivers. They had an outstanding year this year, and they're both great players. It's kind of hard to even match up with them, so they're just great players.
How would you feel about being drafted by Buffalo?
I'll be excited to go there, Whatever team decides to pick me, I'm going to just be blessed that I had the opportunity to even play this game.
Carter was saying that you're a good poker player, but that you smile too much.
Yeah.
Like quarterbacks can't reach us because they can't see inside the face mask.
You know what? If you look at all my pictures, I'm smiling. And even they say that. They're like, why are you always smiling? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just enjoying it. Like, I just love playing football. So I'm out there smiling, having a great time. So I think it gives us the upper hand. If you got family members that have been through it firsthand, you can always lean on them for advice. And they'll pretty much tell you anything that you need to know prior to coming to, like, an event like this. So I think it definitely helps just from the advice standpoint.